Baba.
This is December 28th, 1994 at Mandalay Hall, Mirzad. I'm here with Meherwan Jessawala on the 23rd tape of this series of recollections of the God-man, beloved avatar Meher Baba. And according to my notes, you had just started, but we were interrupted in the middle of a story last time about Mirji Mama.
Yeah,
your
that's
uncles.
right. So, before we start, let me tell you that I think we are very nearly to the end of our narration now, and I will not be wasting further time of the audience, whoever they may be in the future, and they won't have to put up much more of me. But I do hope that all this time that they may have spent seeing these films or these videos, that it was Baba whom they could visualize in these talks, and that blissfully they would have forgotten me while the narration was on. That was my endeavor, and I do hope that I have at least succeeded to a certain extent. Well, whatever that is.
Well, that has been my experience.
That's good.
You're one listener so far.
And before we resume, you were just shifting this camera and making me shift my chair this way, a little bit this way, again back. So it reminded me of a very funny incident that occurred at Guru Prasad way back in the mid-60s. And once Madhusudan, who was the prime singer in the Pune Center, and he would quite often be called by Baba to sing at Guru Prasad. So one day he requested Baba that he would like to have a recording of his Aarti done, a sort of regular record on the usual the cutting of a record. In those times it was on the
disc.
On the disc, yeah. So Baba gave him permission. So he came with his big troupe. Of course, all Baba lovers who used to sing with him. And we were sitting there in the Mandalay Hall at Guru Prasad. And then Madhusudan got ready, and a recorder, a high quality recorder was brought to record the song, and then later it would be taken into the studio and a disc cut for it. So he was getting it all set up, and then he was also leading the whole sort of troupe. He would be singing the lead and also directing the other singers. And every now and then he would stop and say, no, this is not right, we'll take again. And he's doing this and that and all those directions. And Baba was enjoying the scene and started mimicking Madhusudan. That became so funny in the end, that because something or the other would happen and the recording was not up to the mark. So eventually it was decided that they all go to a professional studio and get a record done. But Baba gave sufficient time to him, despite all the funny things that happened. But it was not satisfactory, so it was left out.
So Baba enjoyed this whole scene.
Yeah, it was a nice scene. How people want to take the retakes and all that. So we had an idea of what it is to record a song, Yeah, it's quite an intricate thing. Yeah, well, so last time, as I was saying, we were in Pune, and I had returned from Mirzad, of course, and I had returned after the meeting of the 13th of October, where Baba had given us all the directions for the great darshan, and the circular details were read out to us. I think I mentioned that.
Yeah.
After that I returned to Pune, and one day we received information that my uncle, my eldest uncle, my mother's brother, Meherji Mama, he was seriously ill and was hospitalized. So we learned that some urinary infection had taken place, and the flow of urine had stopped, and he required emergency catheterization and hospitalization. So he was at the hospital, and the doctor was Dr. Brisbane. So he was rather anxious about Meherji Mama's health, because he being an elderly person and with blockage of urine, he was in two minds whether to do a surgical intervention or not. So foreseeing that surgery might be necessary, he was getting his blood and other checks made, and in the investigations it was found that he was highly anemic. So so much so that immediate blood transfusion was necessary. So it was just as well that they had removed him to hospital, and blood transfusion was given, and he was being made ready in the event of surgery being necessary. So all this news came to us, and my mother was very anxious and asked me to take her to Nagar. So I and Mama boarded a bus, and we just came to Nagar, Akbar Press, and from there, I think it was the 21st of November. I remember the date because the next day was my birthday. 22nd November is my birthday. So that's why I remember this date in particular. So we went there to the hospital, Booth Hospital, and to see how he was. There he was lying in bed, but quite cheerful. And Adi Senior was also there, come to inquire about him. So I requested Adi to inform Meeraj that we had just come suddenly over here, so information should be given to him. Because at that time I had to really be in Pune to attend to errands which they would send from here, like for instance some emergency medicines or whatever.
Yeah, you had described last time.
Baba's health was not too good.
So this was coming up a lot at this time.
Yeah, so it was more and more frequent.
So you were the one who would be called upon to do that?
Yeah, from Pune, that's right. So I sent word with Adi, and I think he must have informed Baba and Erach and all. So the next day while I was at Akbar Press, the car arrives with a message that I was called to Meherwan. So then it was my birthday also, so I thought that's the reason why Baba is calling me. And then I came over, and Baba was sitting in the chair here in the hall, and he looked askance at me and says, "How come you're here? And who all came?" So I said that I and Mama came yesterday, and he says, "Without my permission? How is it that you came?" So then I told him that the emergency nature of the thing. So Baba heard it all. Then he said, "Okay, let Mama stay here, but you should return tomorrow and be at Pune." So that was the order I had received, and the next day, of course, I left. But while I was here, then when I mentioned about blood transfusion to Meherji Mama, he says, "Why people are not thinking about giving me blood transfusion?" I'm so weak, don't I require blood transfusion or some such thing. Just a sort of casual remark, And Iraj and others said, Baba, why should you be having blood transfusion? So nobody paid much heed about that. But it so happened that only a few days later, Baba's health was really causing concern. And Dr. Grant used to pay weekly visits to Booth Hospital. He would come as an honorary visiting specialist from Pune and would take rounds in the hospital with Dr. Brisman. So that was his weekly routine. So on one of those Thursdays, he was here, and so Dr. Ghaver called him to also come and examine Baba. And when he did, then he asked for that blood sample should be taken to check Baba's condition. So he took some samples of blood, and when it was analyzed there, it was found that Baba was highly anemic. Yeah. And he said Baba needs immediate blood transfusion. So
Baba himself had just been saying so.
And nobody paid any heed to it at the time. So, there was a lot of dilly-dallying and what is to be done. And Baba says, if the doctor says so, so be it. And so it was all arranged. And Dr. Grant took some good blood from his own. He had a blood bank of his own at Ruby Hall in Pune, and he still has. So
he's still there?
He's still there, yes. Although he's become almost like a scarecrow. He was a great, he had a great fetish for dieting and all that. And he would make Baba diet also. And Najama would curse him like anything. He would restrict so many things from Baba's diet, No fat, no this, no that, no proteins. So Baba was getting weaker and weaker.
And Baba would do it?
Yes, Baba would. He would always say to follow doctor's advice. Yeah. Well, so then he came, and I think it was about mid-December that Baba was given his first blood transfusion, and he had brought properly matched blood so that Baba would not have any problems while taking the transfusion.
So this was from the blood bank, it wasn't from a specific known donor?
No, you don't know who that lucky donor was. Yeah. Neither the man who did it knew anything about his great good fortune. Yeah, that's one of the games that he has played.
This must be the first time in recorded history that the avatar has been infused with someone else's blood.
Yeah. I think somebody mentioned also about Baba, how could you take transfusion and all that? And Baba said, what has that got to do with my avatarhood or anything? Some such talk was there. Yeah, it was a sort of very unpleasant thing, but it had to be done, and Baba just wanted to go through every little phase of his suffering, So, that was it. And then I was there, and Baba. Then Baba asked me how he looked. That was the usual thing he would ask us fairly often, So I just spontaneously said, Baba, you look very pale to me. And that was the first time that really Baba looked very pale and haggard. So Iraj and Pendu were also there, and they then piped in, yes, Baba, we are constantly telling you, you don't look well, you're neglecting your nourishment, you're neglecting your health. How often, see now Meherwan also is saying this. Listen to what he's saying. So Baba, to turn the topic, he says, today is Meherwan's birthday. So call for a for something from Gawe. So the attention to divert attention from these people, you know. And then of course Gawe brought a packet of chocolates, and Baba with his own hands called me and gave it to me for my birthday present. Then asked me to kiss him on both his cheeks. So that was it. And then of course I left.
So then seclusion was so strict.
No, there was no seclusion now.
Oh, this was exclusion or what?
Neither seclusion nor exclusion nor anything, but just a period of recuperation or something. That he had said, yeah.
So Baba wasn't doing that seclusion work at this time?
No. That had
and all that.
That probably might be doing at night, I don't know, but I don't think so. Bhav might know that better. But I think that that very concentrated work that he was doing was over some time back. And then he was allowing people to come and see him at Meherazad. Of course, people who would be called for work, not the general public or any other lovers. But there was more freedom to come and see Baba.
But nonetheless, even your coming to Ahmednagar to go to Booth Hospital was something that he took you to task for. Yeah, because we had instructions from Baba that we were not to leave Pune without his specific orders. Yeah, so or whenever we left, to inform him immediately. So it was a lapse on our part which he had to point out, you know. Yeah. So this reminds me of one of my previous visits to Meherazad also. This birthday occasion, I get that recollection that one day in one of my previous visits, I had been here at Meherazad and helping Eraj quite a lot, and we had worked really hard that year during Baba's birthday, attending to correspondence and cables and back and forth and all that. So, and it was time for me to leave, I think, and then Baba had called us in his room there. He usually would sometimes call us in the afternoon to his room. Baba wouldn't come to the hall, then we all went to his room. And he would sit on the chair there, and some paper would be read out, whatever things that were left out in the morning's curriculum could be read out there, or whatever. So after that, Eraj says, all right, now let's go. So Baba tells Eraj, wait, what's the hurry? I have some work with Meherwan. So then we sit again. Then Baba, from under his seat, he brings out a little packet and hands it over to me. And it was a beautiful white shirt that he presented it to me that time. So I still preserved that shirt, and I always wear it on my birthdays. Did you this past year?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So that birthday occasion reminded me of this little thing. Yeah. It was very comical, Baba quietly bringing the thing. He was sitting on it all the while, hiding it as it were from Eraj.
Oh, sweet. Really?
Yeah.
So even Eraj didn't know that?
No, yeah. So he was a little annoyed with Eraj to hurry me out of the room or something. At another time, again we were in his room, and Ghaver had just brought in a plate of grated apples, you know. I mean, not grated, but peeled apples, because it was one of the fruits that Dr. Grant had permitted Baba to eat. Other things were prohibited because of Baba's blood sugar problems and all that. although he liked mangoes and papaya and all very, very much, but that was restricted for Baba. So apples he detested, he didn't like apples.
They would have been hard for him to chew also.
No, very soft variety.
I see.
Ilcha would send from Simla, very beautiful. They were called Royal Delicious, one of the best varieties of apple grown here. And they are very soft inside. But Baba never liked it. So he let Gavar put it on the table. As when Gavar went out, he beckons to me and says, "Come on, eat this." So I start to eat slowly, and he says, "Eat quickly." Thinking Gavar might come back and catch him giving it away, Some such feeling one gets, of his wanting me to eat it up quickly, as it were. Yeah.
So did you get away with it?
Yeah, I finished eating it quickly before Gavar could come in again. First I didn't know why Baba was asking me to hurry up, Yeah.
That's a funny trait of Baba's, trying to outwit his own disciples and get away from under their discipline.
That's right. And at the same time not to cause hurt to them, So he would take all these pains. Yeah. Yeah, so that was my visit to Meherazad. And then of course I left the next day for Pune, and my mother stayed on here. She helped with the nursing also, taking turns. Panumasi, my other aunt, was here. Then
here means Ahmednagar.
At Akbar Press, Press. So they would go in turns and be of help to Mirji Mama. And he was there for quite a few days. But after about a fortnight or so, Baba, I think, had asked my mother to go back home, not to worry, his nazar would be there. Because very soon thereafter, Mirji Mama's blockage of urine just cleared up naturally, without need of any surgery. So he was saved the problem of carrying a sack all the while and being bedridden or something. Yeah. So he was out of hospital very soon. Yes, so that was the end of 1968, and then 1969 commenced on a rather somber note, because in the very first week of 1969 I received a letter perhaps, or I don't know, a phone message from Erech, I don't remember, saying that Baba's condition was causing great concern, and that we are thinking of shifting Baba to Guru Prasad, and their coming here was very imminent, and I should rush to Guru Prasad and start making all preparations there for the party to come and stay there. So then I went to Guru Prasad and got the manager to start cleaning up the place, getting things ready. But very soon I received again a letter from Erech saying that Baba had decided to not to come to Guru Prasad. So not to go ahead with bringing outside furniture and all that, but to await further messages, but to keep in readiness, to be on alert for all this, to expect them at short notice. Yeah. Then, so for the time being it was averted, his coming, and then I think towards the last week of January 69, again I received a message from Erech that Baba is now relenting and saying that, it's quite troublesome for Dr. Ginde and Grant to be consulted from here. I think we will shift to Guru Prasad. So, when can that be arranged? It said immediately, Baba, if you give us the signal, we can just straight away go. I'll phone Meherwan right away. So then he says, all right, give me some time, I'll think about it. And the next day he again cancels the whole thing. But in the earlier time when they were trying to convince Baba to come to Guru Prasad, and Baba was resisting it, and they were trying to be quite adamant, and Baba said, all right, you can take me to Guru Prasad, but the consequences will be disastrous. I have that recollection of some such thing Baba said.
I remember that too.
You remember that?
Yeah, it sounded like it would cause him to drop his body or something really like that.
Some such message came, and the Iraj had written to me that is what happened, and we then gave up the idea of persuading him to come to Guru Prasad. And then subsequently again he on his own said, let's go, and then again he cancelled it. So
this was in order to be close to Dr. Grant.
Yeah, Guru Prasad was very close to Ruby Hall, Yeah, it's about 5 minutes walking distance from there. And for Ginde also, Ginde used to be consulted quite often. So it would be easy for Ginde to come from Bombay to Pune rather than all the way here. So it would be easy,
By the way, just jumping back for a second, for the Dara and Amrit's wedding, did you come to Meherzad for that? That occasion?
Yeah, I
It would have been at the end of December.
Yeah, I think I completely forgot that incident. That's right. So, thank you for reminding me. So that was another function that happened, right? So soon after Baba's first blood transfusion, even I think after I left Baba, in November, at that time itself, all these preparations were going on.
For the wedding? For
the wedding of Dara and Amrit. And despite Baba's ill health, Baba was taking great interest in calling certain people, not to call the others, and so always there was changing of names and adding further names, and Baba was taking more interest than anyone else. Probably to divert attention of these people, I think. And despite his very critical health, all these preparations were going on. So Baba decided that the function should be held on 22nd and 23rd of December. So 22nd to be celebrated as Mehra's birthday. So that's the reason why Mehra's birthday is now celebrated on 22nd of December. And the wedding reception to be the next day, I think. So these preparations were going on, and myself and Mama, Manu, we all came over and stayed at Akbar Press, and then accompanied the party that was leaving for Meherzad in several buses. I think 3 or 4 buses had been hired from the state transport, because about 200 people had been called for the occasion.
So, now that's something that had rarely happened here at Meherzad that I know of. To have so many people come out here?
Never before.
Never before.
Except I think when there was this housewarming that was done
in the 40s.
In 47 or 48, I think. So I don't remember any such sort of function being held. Of course, there were singing programs or such other things in the hall. But on this big scale, with people being called as guests and food being supplied and all that. So that was, I think, just these two occasions. No other occasion was there. Because here it would be mostly quiet, yeah. So, on the 22nd was the first of the 2 days that we went. And it was a big affair. Dara and Amrit got engaged that day in the presence of Baba, exchange of engagement rings and all that, and garlanding each other before Baba. Then Mehra's birthday cake was cut, I think. A big cake. You see a cake there, in the photograph here.
Yeah.
So that's Mehra's birthday cake, I think. So that cake was there before Baba. It was cut and then distributed as prasad to all. So that was there. And yes, at that time there was also the Navjot ceremony of those 4 little kids. Mehruk, who's here just now, she was tiny that time, as small as our kids are now,
Yeah.
And Mehruk was there, then Rayoman, who is also here now.
Oh, really?
Yeah. They were both quite tiny then. And then there was Nozer. Nozer was...
Who now lives in Atlanta or something?
No.
Oh.
Nozer... yes, the same boy. He was nephew of, I think, Arnavaz's nephew. That's Nozer Dada Chanji. And there was another, Dolly Dastur's niece, Mehnaz. Yes, Mehnaz, I think. So 4 of them were there, and they were all given their communion, as with, I don't know what they call it in your religion. It's, I think, communion.
I don't know what it would be called for that age. I never would.
You don't have any such thing?
I was never brought up in any religion at all. But that seems to have been a ceremony that Baba would do from time to time.
Yeah.
That particular one.
But then always during those ceremonies, Baba's message about ceremonies would be read out. That the essence of the religion, of the Zoroastrian religion, was good thoughts, good words, and good deeds. So let this be an occasion for you. That means the kid who was being given this ceremony, that this is what should be done by you. Yeah. Some such message is there. It's a very beautiful message that Baba used to give. So that these 2 functions were held at that time. Yeah. And after that, of course, there was a nice dance program. Sarosh and Vilu's granddaughter, she was about, I think, 5 or 6 years old. And Sarosh's daughter, that's Gulnar, who is Dr. Hirji Edenwala's wife. So they all had come for the wedding occasion. So this little kid gave a dance performance before Baba.
Yeah.
So
I think that's in the film, isn't it?
It is there?
I think so.
Yeah.
Little girl doing up on the porch.
On the porch, yeah. Just Baba sitting there, and in front of him, that little kid was dancing her life out, as it was. She gave a very nice performance, looking to her age, So I remember there was a recording of background music, but unfortunately the mic failed just before the dance. So she was starting to dance and it stopped. So then you find the mother doing a sort of rhythm with her hands, clapping. So just by that she was dancing.
In fact, the film has at one point Elcha and two others beside Baba who are clapping.
That's different.
Oh, that's
After the dance was over and everybody applauded the little thing, after that Elcha, then Kumar and all these people were brought up, and Kaka Baria was called on the stage. And they were made to sing a song, and Kaka had to sing that song, And Kaka had lost his speech altogether. So he was just ranting away some unintelligible sounds, and they were clapping in unison, Elcha and Kumar and all and Baba was having good laugh at all this, and the whole audience was laughing. It was a very funny spectacle.
There is a funny shot of Baba just putting his hand.
Yeah, he couldn't repress his laughter as it was. It was very funny. And then after that there was another singing by Sorab and Rustam and Bejan. So they sang a song called But There's a Hole in the Bucket, Henry, or some such thing. You remember that song?
I've seen them do that one, yeah.
And they do it very nicely.
Where one is the husband and the other is the wife.
Yeah.
And the wife is nagging the husband. He's always got some excuse. It goes on and on, yeah.
And the constant refrain is, but there's a hole in the bucket. Right. And they do it so in such a funny manner that Baba enjoyed the whole singing. So that was adding a little lightness to the atmosphere. But we were all very tense at that time, because just before these two functions, fusion. Yeah, a couple of days before that, I think. So Baba's health was on, his diet had to be given because of the urea and all that.
I remember reading that one of the doctors, maybe Grant, was surprised that Baba could even remain conscious.
That was Dr. Hirji, the father of that little kid who danced, He's a surgeon in Trichur. So he was also consulted by Gave, and when the report went to him, then he wanted to come and see Baba. And he was asking Eraj before seeing Baba that how is Baba, his mental responses. So Eraj says, we don't find anything abnormal. So he says, you needn't try to hide these things from me. I'm a doctor, let me know exactly what it is. So Eraj got a little peeved, He says, if you think I'm hiding, let's go, you can see for yourself. But he says, with that level of urea, a person's mental responses could never be normal. So either you are trying to misguide me or trying to cover up things. So then they went inside and couldn't believe what he saw. Yeah, and nice discourses. And same thing happened when Grant was there giving him blood transfusion, and Baba gave a beautiful discourse, because when Meherji came later and told us about the whole thing, he said that while the transfusion was going on, Baba was giving a beautiful discourse to Grant about the troubled condition of the world, how the height of hypocrisy has been reached now, and that Baba's suffering was to alleviate all this evil that is taking place in the world, and that although the scientific progress of the world is necessary and has to be maintained, but at the same time the spiritual progress has also to be maintained. So that was his work that Baba was doing. He was bringing everything up to its highest level. A beautiful discourse, and Grant was the lucky recipient of that.
Well, just while this transfusion was going on. It seems like when outsiders would come, that would be the occasion for special treats like that.
That's right. So it showed to us that Baba's suffering was all his own, it was a result of his own internal workings, And despite everything, he was master of the situation, right till the very end. But he allowed his body to suffer. There was no question about it. And suffer grievously. So as I said, while the functions were going on, Baba's health wasn't at all good. So towards the end, then Baba wanted everybody to form a queue and file past him. Nobody must greet him, but just fold their hands and file past. So I was asked to speed up the whole thing and ask them not to tarry before Baba, because he was finding it difficult even to sit on the chair there. You'll find that expression of tiredness that in the film, I think.
So it was easy to see, just to see Baba, how much he was suffering, he was going through. Do you think it was evident to all the people there?
Not evident to all the people, but the close ones who knew, they knew that Baba was undergoing great hardship. Although he put up a very bright face and all that, but still we could see that he was not well. So we were feeling very concerned also. And
as it turned out, this was the last public event in Baba's life as a man, the last public occasion.
That's all. So many people.
A wedding and Mary's birthday.
So that was the first. The official part of it was completed there, and that their marriage was. There was nobody to receive him at the station and bring him to Mirazad. So when I came over the next day, Iraj said that you should go back and receive Nalawala and bring him here quickly before Baba retires. So I rushed back in the jeep, and I remember it was Kutum Shastri, his son was driving the jeep, and we both went there to the railway station. He didn't know who Meherwan was, so just to so that he shouldn't miss him, I was sent to accompany him. And so I missed the whole program, of the second day. And I went there, and his train was very late. Almost 11 o'clock it came, whereas it should have been here at 7:30 in the morning or something. So as soon as he got down, we rushed him through and got him in the jeep, and we came here. By that time the function was all over, and Baba had retired to his bedroom. So we too were asked to go into the bedroom. So then we went inside, and Baba asked why was the delay, and I think Meherwan explained about how his train got delayed at Manmad or something. Then Baba asked each of us to come and give him a kiss on either side, both of his cheeks, which we did. And before we departed, I remember Baba said, "Remember, I am God." Yes. And then we left, and that was my last physical darshan of Baba. That's all. That was the last I saw of him.
December 23rd, 1968.
That's right. It was about noon time or so. So that was the last physical darshan of Baba in this advent for me. So, and then of course there was some, Baba then asked me to stay on for some time so I couldn't stay on. not fated to stay on. Anyway, so that was the last. And
even at this time, you had never occurred to you that Baba might be, reaching the end of his physical life.
No.
That was just not there at all.
It was not. It reminds me when I was in Meherazad in my last day at Meherazad, and my last day, and I have to leave now. So Baba was there, and then he called me to embrace him, which was the usual thing which I received when I would leave Meherazad. So Baba calls me and embraces me, and usually Baba just would embrace and then I would go. But that time Baba was just held on to me for a long time, and I was rather anxious that I might be causing Baba some inconvenience, that he has to stand because he's to leave him, but he held on. And I wondered why. It was a long time he held on. And then I could see a sort of very loving and compassionate look on his face. And that was the last embrace I received. I never knew that. Yeah.
That was back in the previous February.
Yeah, in 68. Yeah, when I was at Meherazad. So I remember that.
That's because in Guru Prasad then there was no occasion to see him, and on the 13th of October and
that's right,
the 22nd
because
there was no opportunity to embrace him. Not even your birthday, no birthday
just
embrace.
Kissing him, So that was the last embrace in the physical form, and I still remember.
He gave so many beautiful little indications of his divine knowledge that become visible only afterwards.
Right. And he always kept saying that my words are never in vain. They will always fructify and they will always come to pass. Yeah. But it's we who don't understand their significance. The time factor is not understood by us, and so we feel that Baba is just saying so many words, but it's never so. Yeah. So I think we'll go for tea. Jai Baba.
Sure.
Yeah. Jai Baba.
Okay, we're after tea time.
Yes.
Picking up with the saga as it comes down to the bitter sweet end.
Yeah. Yes, so I was describing the last embrace that I received from Baba, and it was a long time that he had held me in his arms, and I was wondering why it was so, because I never realized that it would be the last time that he would be embracing me. Yeah. And I still remember that expression on his face of a sort of sadness in his eyes and a distant, far away look, and his face full of love and compassion. And that experience has remained with me right up to the present day. Yeah. It was unforgettable. Well, so that was it. And so where were we then?
We've been talking about in January Baba's aborted plans.
To Guru Prasad. So nevertheless, we were all on tenterhooks because news would keep coming of Baba's blood reports, and the high urea content was the main cause of concern the hemoglobin content had improved because of the 2 or 3 blood transfusions. I'm not sure how many. I think 2 were given. But the blood urea was a cause of great worry. And I was saying about Dr. Hirji.
Yeah.
So he was not believing what Erich was saying, and when he went in, when Erich took him into Baba's room, and when he saw Baba and began to ask him pertinent questions, and Baba was giving him replies and then giving him certain discourses on spiritual matters, and he completely forgot the purpose of his visit, He was so completely absorbed in what Baba was saying. And after that he realized that what was happening, and he was amazed that with that high concentration of urea, and Baba was giving all this deep spiritual discourses. So then he realized that that Baba was no ordinary person. Yeah. So after that he became very close to Baba, although it was rather late, but then of course he had great respect for Baba in the old times also, but now he came quite close to Baba. Yeah.
Was this what really convinced him and inspired about Baba?
Yeah, that's right. Baba must have done something within him that turned the key, as it were. Yeah.
That is kind of funny. Someone is skeptical about whether Baba is really mentally coherent, and then Baba makes them so absorbed in what he's saying that they forget their own. It
would happen with Dr. Grant, Grant would come to examine Baba, and Baba would start asking questions to Grant. How is your health? What diet you take? You should eat this, you should have that. And Baba was the doctor and Grant was the patient. And Grant would be telling him earnestly things he was passing through and all the troubles he had, forgetting all about Baba, And poor Ghaver was getting all tensed up, She knew Baba was doing all this purpose. And the moment Grant would leave, and then Baba would again be all heaped up, as it were. So this drama would constantly be enacted, Yeah. Yes, so
just put a little more light on.
So then these days are dragging on, and Baba's blood urea continued. I had received several letters from Erich during those last few days of Baba's physical life, and at the end of our session, if I have time, I'll read out a few of them just to give an idea of the situation that prevailed at the time. So in one of those letters, I think it was dated the 27th or something, 23rd, that Baba was passing through a very acute phase of suffering that day. But then the previous day he had prepared a little bhajan on the spur of the moment, as it, and the refrain was Sai Baba, Baba Jan, Baba Chhe Bhagwan. Sai Baba, Baba Jan, Baba Chhe Bhagwan. Chhe means is, Baba is Bhagwan.
Isn't it Meher Baba Chhe Bhagwan?
Or Meher Baba Chhe Bhagwan. Yeah, that's more like it. So, and then he asked Kaka to sing this. Tells Erich to repeat this to Kaka and make him sing that. So poor Kaka then starts to shout and all that usual thing, and such funny sounds he brought out that even the Mandli just burst out laughing, and Baba was laughing so much that he had never laughed like that before, writes Sairach in one of his letters. And 2 or 3 days later, again Baba made him go through this singing business, and again Baba laughed. This is practically the last week of Baba's physical existence. So Baba's humor was there till the very end.
Do you think that Kaka knew that he was funny?
Yeah, well, he realized that he couldn't express himself. He did feel very... He must be feeling a lot about not being able to express himself. But what I could see was that when he would do this, and I was at Mehrazad, at that time also he would have this difficulty. But Baba, when he would laugh, when Kaka did all this, then Kaka would start laughing also. And he would wink at me. Kaka would wink at me, saying that he was enjoying himself at his own expense, because he was a source of great amusement to Baba. So that pleased him a lot, despite his disability. So that was his greatness, to give Baba enjoyment, even at the cost of himself, as it were. Yeah. So now there was another letter from Meerut in which he mentions that Baba has given permission to Grant to come to Mehrazad again to examine him on the 30th. 30th was a Thursday. Friday was the last day. So 30th Baba has asked Grant to come, and Meherji was to bring him along. And then in a PS he writes that Meherwan Baba gives you permission to come to Mehrazad whenever you are free, and Baba has no objection to your coming here. Then Meherji came because he had gone with Grant on one of the previous visits, and he told me that, look, when I went last, Baba has told me that next time when I accompany Grant, he was to bring me to Mehrazad also. So you have to come. So I tell Meherji, no Meherji, I think I won't come. And he says, why? So I said, I feel that it will be a great strain on Baba. If I go there, his condition is so weak, and he'll have to talk to me or something, and why give him that needless bother? So I won't come. But I regretted that decision till today, because I never knew what was to follow, because what happened was then Meherji and Grant and all did go on the 30th, and the first thing Baba asked Meherji was, did you bring Meherwan? The sign for me was this.
What is that sign?
A small, so the younger
little brother,
little brother of his.
Yeah.
Did you bring him along? So